When I first met her, she wasn't rich. She was a kind of woman who lived off her father's generosity, drifting through life without much responsibility. I told myself it didn't matter. I had fallen for her laughter, the way she could light up a room with her presence. Back then, I thought love was enough to sustain us. I worked long hours to cover our bills, cooked our meals, and quietly held our lives together while she spent her days shopping, scrolling on her phone, and waiting for her father's money to solve everything. Her father was a powerful man. Old money, the kind that didn't just buy luxury, but demanded respect. He didn't approve of me at first. I wasn't from her world. I didn't have the pedigree, the wealth, or the lazy entitlement he saw in his circle. But I worked hard, and over time, he softened toward me. Sometimes, when she was out late with friends, he and I would sit together, sharing a drink in silence. He told me once, "At least you have drive. She'll need someone like you." I thought it meant he believed in me. I thought it meant he saw me as part of the family. But when he died, I realized just how wrong I was. The funeral was cold, lavish, filled with people pretending to mourn while their eyes glittered with greed. When the will was read, my wife was named the sole heir. The house, the estate, the businesses, and a staggering $40 million. My chest tightened with shock. Not because I wanted the money. I had never expected a cent. But because I saw the way her eyes changed in that moment. She wasn't the same woman I had married. It happened so fast it felt like whiplash. Within weeks, she stopped pretending to care. She dismissed me with a flick of her hand, as though the years of my sacrifices, my patience, my loyalty meant nothing. The more her wealth grew, the smaller she made me feel. She surrounded herself with people who laughed at her shallow jokes, who praised her for things she hadn't earned, who adored her because of her money, not despite it. One night, as I walked into the grand house I had once thought we'd share together, she was waiting. Her wine glass clinked as she set it down. Her lips curled into a cruel smile. "You need to find somewhere else to live," she said casually, as though she were talking about the weather. "Or die, I don't care. You're useless now." The words hit harder than any slap. I stared at her, trying to process. This was the woman I had given my life to, the woman I had worked myself to exhaustion for, the woman I had defended when people called her spoiled. And here she was, telling me I was nothing. I wanted to scream, to rage, to throw her cruelty back at her. But all I did was nod, quiet, calm, the same way I had always been. She took my silence as weakness, as compliance. But inside, something shifted. The days after that were a blur. I packed what little I owned. She didn't even bother watching me leave. Her new friends laughed in the background, the sound echoing to the hallways of a house that had never truly been mine. I left with nothing. But nothing is sometimes the strongest foundation you can stand on. In the months that followed, I rebuilt myself from the ground up. I threw myself into work, long hours and determination, carving out a life that was mine alone. For the first time, I lived without her shadow looming over me. And the more distance I put between us, the clearer I saw her for what she truly was. Not a partner, not a lover, not a wife, but a parasite clinging to her father's fortune. And as fate would have it, the cracks in her perfect world began to show. The money made her reckless. She trusted the wrong people, invested in shallow ventures, surrounded herself with vultures who bled her dry while smiling to her face. Friends disappeared once the lavish parties slowed. The businesses her father had built crumbled under her mismanagement. The mansion that had once gleamed with pride began to rot with neglect. I didn't need to plot revenge. I didn't need to destroy her. She did it all herself. The last time I saw her, she wasn't radiant or smug or untouchable. She was hollow, her once perfect clothes wrinkled, her eyes tired, her hands shaking as she begged someone on the phone for help. She didn't notice me as I passed by, and I didn't stop. Because the truth is, betrayal doesn't always deserve retaliation. Sometimes the greatest justice is simply to let people live with the consequences of who they are. She thought money would save her. She thought wealth made her powerful. She thought I was useless because I wasn't born into luxury. But in the end, I was the one who survived the one who thrived, the one who walked away stronger. And her? She was left with her mansion of ghosts and a fortune that slipped through her fingers like sand. They say love makes you blind, but betrayal opens your eyes. And once you see clearly, you never go back.